Time for me to provide my honest review on the Mario Galaxy movie. But first, of course, intro. Well, good morning, good night, or good afternoon, viewers, depending on your time zone. This is Curtis, aka Game Hero, and, well, sorry for starting this a little later than usual, for one. But for two, well, I guess first things first. Only reason I started streaming this late is because I just got home from watching the movie. May actually still have some popcorn that I can chow down on later. But, before I do anything, I'm going to provide my honest review on the Mario Galaxy movie. And then I'm going to react to a Nintendo Land's review on the Mario Galaxy movie. I'm giving my review first, so it's not tainted by anyone else's opinions. Which, to start off, personally, I didn't think it was that bad. It was a little weird and I guess a little confusing, but like, it wasn't too bad. I honestly wasn't expecting a lore drop to be provided. It's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I can necessarily really say what the lore drop is right now. But like, I mean, it might be fine because of like, I really don't know yet. I don't know if it's okay to say it just yet. Like, to clarify the lore that was dropped. Because, like, I guess something I could say is that it involves a relationship between Peach and Rosalina, which people have been theorizing on for years now, since the original Mario Galaxy came out. They finally confirmed they finally confirmed a relationship between them. I again don't know if it's okay for me to bring that up. Like, I don't know how big of a spoiler that would be for people. But like, well, the storybook from the game already kind of hinted at there being a relationship between the two of them. It just wasn't, like, it just didn't explain what that relationship was. But, yeah. Personal opinion outside of the lore stuff, it wasn't bad, it was just a little weird, I guess. Because, like, the story was a little all over the place. Like, it wasn't too hard to follow, but it was a little, like, it was a little, kind of, like, it was a little random. So, I do appreciate that they still at least kept it mostly to like the Mario Galaxy format. But it was also weird because well, you could probably already tell from the trailer, but there were quite a few Odyssey kingdoms involved in the Galaxy movie. And the way those were implemented was a little weird. And I felt like it somewhat messed with the lore developed in Odyssey. But like, admittedly, I know, like, admittedly, I don't think the lore of the movies is necessarily supposed to be one-to-one with the lore of the games. Which, the lore of the games is already a big mess as it is. But like, yeah, I don't know. There's so much I honestly want to talk about, but that I don't know if I can talk about just because of spoilers. Like, genuinely. Like, I don't know. Like, I really don't want to spoil the movie for those who want to go and see it for themselves, but like, there's so much I would like to talk about. But yeah, like, overall my opinion is it wasn't a terrible movie, but it definitely could have been better. Like, the plot could have been written out a little better, and had, like, I guess, well, I guess there was some interesting development with Bowser. I don't want to spoil too much on that, but like, there's some interesting development with Bowser that I've found honestly pretty interesting. Like, I didn't mind the writing for Bowser. But like, I don't know. No, I think I'll just jump to Nintendo Land's opinion on this really quick. Like, again, personally, I don't mind it, but it also could have been a lot better than it was. Fox McCloud making it into the movie, which was already spoilered by, I'm pretty sure, like, Illuminations and like, I'm pretty sure it was already spoiled by Illumination and Paramount or whatever. Like, it was already spoiled by them because of a freaking poster they put out. But the inclusion of Fox, I didn't mind it too much. It did certainly throw me off, but they at least I don't want to I still don't want to, I'm trying to be so careful not to not to spoil anything, but again, I didn't personally mind Fox being a part of it, and they did kind of explain the situation with him. Like, they explained how he got there, so to speak. I'm trying so hard not to spoil it too much. But like, overall, not a terrible movie, but definitely not the best. They could have done a lot better with it. That said, I think it's time I just move on to Nintendo Land's review on it. So, yeah. Let's just jump into it, shall we? Let's hear what this man has to say about
Welcome
this.
back to Nintendo Land, and I just got out of the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Now, I'm telling you right
Same.
away, there will be no spoilers in this video. This is just my initial thoughts and what I thought about the movie, keeping it just pretty surface base level stuff. In the next couple of days, I will post a second video that dives deeper in the film, talking about all the spoilers and stuff, so giving you guys at least a day or two to watch the movie. But yeah, how did I feel about the Super Mario Galaxy movie? Well, real quick, before we get started, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. We are still trying to reach our goal of 400,000 subscribers. We are super close, so if you're watching this video and not yet subbed, let's see how many people we can get to subscribe from this video alone.
I am actually subscribed.
For tuning in, and let's dive into my thoughts.
Honestly, like,
so the
a
first
lot
thing I
of
want to start off
videos.
with is let's talk about the characters, and we'll kind of just go from category to category as I talk
I think I
about
didn't
this movie, but
mention
the
before
characters
Bowser Jr.
were all great. I don't really have an issue with any of them. Lots of the complaints were mostly with Rosalina and Yoshi that they weren't in this movie enough. I did not think that was the case. I felt like Yoshi was definitely in this movie enough, and I
Yoshi
felt like
was in it
Rosalina
plenty
was
enough.
fine for me. I know some people will be a little upset that she's not a super main focus. She does get kidnapped and it's kind of just like gone for a while, but she does have a lot of scenes and she does make a good appearance. Now you got to remember also in the Galaxy games,
I don't mind.
she wasn't even in
how
Galaxy 2.
often
She was really just like a cosmic clone. In Galaxy 1, she was mostly just the beginning and the end and just sitting there in the front of the hub world. So I get, you know what I mean?
Like, she doesn't
she's not
play
meant to
a
be the main focus
major
of the Galaxy
huge role,
story. It's
but,
about
like,
Mario and his journey throughout the different galaxies and him helping Rosalina.
Yeah,
I just thought I'd put that in there. But all the other characters really well. Star Fox, an extreme highlight of this movie. I can't believe all the stuff that they did for him. It made me
Same.
really happy as a Star Fox fan, and after watching this, it makes me want to go back and replay all the Star Fox games. It was like literally one of those. It was so good.
I need to be better about pausing the video while I'm reacting, so I can actually add my own thoughts properly. But, like, personally, I've never actually played any of the Star Fox games. Like, I've never played any of them. But I still feel like they did a pretty good job with Fox McCloud in the movie. And they're most likely going to include, or not include, they're likely going to make a they're likely going to make a Star Fox movie at some point, which I will probably end up watching at some point. Because, like, I feel like they already did a good job with him in the Mario Galaxy movie. If it does well enough, then maybe they'll make a movie for him. Which, like, I'm a little curious about how that would go out, like, how that would go down. Especially since, like, from what I know, Star Fox in particular is mostly just him in the Arwing with it transforming into, like, various different mechs. Like, there might be some different, like, there might be some out of mech missions, but, like, I don't know. I haven't played the game at all. I only know a little bit of it from, well, like, Nintendo Land and other people have said about it. But, like, yeah. I do still have a small complaint about Bowser Jr. in particular, and that's just with the design of the eyes, which I think everyone had a complaint about that. But in the end, I actually kind of got used to it, and, like, yeah, it doesn't weird me out as much anymore.
I was like a little fan kicking my feet, and I'm sure none of the kids had any clue what they were showing on screen with the Star Fox scenes. But I was just like, oh my gosh, loving everything, just eating it all up completely. But yeah, Star Fox really stole the show for a lot of the movie. I do not think he was in the movie more than Rosalina. I've heard some people saying that. I don't think that's the case. I do think he had a big portion right in the second act, but he did take a back seat towards the end. He kind of just, had this one role and then he was kind of gone. He was meant to be in the plane. He stays in his plane for a good portion of the movie. So I don't think
Yeah.
he feels weird. A lot of
wouldn't
people even
argue
said he
with
was
that.
shoehorned in. I don't think that was the case either.
I would not say he was
I feel like he
shoehorned
fit
in.
perfectly, and he played the role that he was supposed to play, and I really liked it. It's a cool way to add another non-Nintendo character into this movie, and I say another because there's another non-Nintendo character we knew about. Nintendo gave us a little snippet of all the characters in the movie, and these characters popped up. I'm not going to say it here just in case you didn't see that little snippet, but it probably won't surprise you, but it was still really cool to see them there. Bowser Jr. was great. He had a lot of good, heartfelt moments with his dad that I really enjoyed. I did not like his eyes, though. His red eyes really, it bothered me in the movie a lot.
Yeah,
But I
they
liked
were
everything else about
off-putting
it.
for
I
me
liked
at
the voice
first, but
direction, I liked the
but
way
like I
he
said, I got
acted,
used to it.
and I really love how instead of being this kind of resentful son since his dad hasn't been around for a while, he just loves Bowser. Like, he absolutely loves his dad with no hate at all in his heart for him. He just misses his dad and wants to be,
misses him
rekindled
a
with him
lot.
again and just rule the galaxy with him. Bowser was weird. It's hard to really get into this without spoiling it, so I'm not going to say anything besides he has
Yeah, it
these
wasn't
weird
weird.
directions with his character that just doesn't quite make sense and really
Yeah.
fit him as a character, and some things that they do towards the middle and ending of the film. Like I said, it's just impossible for me to talk about this right now without spoiling anything, so I'm just going to leave it
Yeah,
at
like,
that. It's
that's
just-
something I
and
was
he has a
scared
weird
about,
character
too.
arc. But yeah, all the other characters are great. I feel like Toad is kind of sidelined in this movie, but overall, I think the biggest surprise was one of the lore drops with some of the characters in this movie. I was
Yeah.
not expecting,
Which, again,
and
I
I was
was-
like, wow, they're changing lore that's been established in the games for years now. And it makes me question if they're going to
Well, here's
change
the thing,
lore in
one-
the games. I
like, one
was
of the lore
really
pieces
surprised that they
actually
went with something that they did.
wasn't
I can't believe
ever
it.
actually
Another thing that was
confirmed.
kind of a letdown was there's not many other characters. I thought with them showing Star Fox this early, it clearly meant there were some bigger characters that they were hiding. Definitely.
Because I'm trying to remember
Another
what
thing
the
that
thought I was going to say.
games for years.
Right, the
was
lore.
there's not-
This, like, I again don't want to spoil too much when it comes to the lore thing, but like, one bit of info in particular that was mentioned in the lore, like in the supposed lore changes. One thing in particular was never actually confirmed entirely in the game. That being about the relationship between Peach and Rosalina. That wasn't specifically
not many other characters.
Wait, that wasn't
I thought with them showing Star Fox
specifically
this early, it
fully
clearly meant there were some
explained.
bigger characters that they were hiding.
it was just hinted
Definitely
at.
temper your expectations because
And then
there's not
hundreds of
much.
theories came out.
Most of the characters
for
that
it.
we know of, you see already, and that's really about it. Which was strange to me because I'm like, okay, and that actually made me upset that they showed us Fox. I mean, if Fox was a surprise, it would have been so freaking nuts, man. And he definitely could have been a surprise. This is one character that could have been a perfectly good surprise. They just did not need to say anything. Also, Honey
Like,
Queen is
honestly,
barely in this movie. I can't believe they even told us like Issa Rae was playing her because I was like, what's the point? She maybe gets a minute or two of screen time and never seen again for the rest of the movie. It
Not
made
wrong,
no
though.
sense. It was just like Honey Hive Galaxy itself was there for just the smallest little plot point and then just gone before you even blinked.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't argue
Now, since
with
we're on the
that.
topic of Honey Hive Galaxy, let me talk about the name of the movie itself. Super Mario Galaxy movie. Yeah, this is not a Mario Galaxy movie. I mean, I feel like it's in the name simply because of the music, which I'll get into in a second, but also
Oh yeah,
the fact
the
that
music
they're in
in
space
particular.
often. That's about it. You might be like, that's what Galaxy is, about Mario in space, but there's like
I mean, there's a
hardly
lot of it, yes,
any
but like,
Galaxy references. I mean, there's some small Easter eggs of things you can see in the background of some scenes and stuff, but for the most
Yeah.
part, it's a pretty conservative movie when it comes to Galaxy stuff. They really do not show a lot of Galaxy. In fact, I don't think any of the characters fight a single Galaxy enemy or Galaxy boss the entire runtime of this movie. Now, you might see some enemies like
I mean, there
you'll
w-
see some Octubas,
I mean, there was
Octo
melee,
guys, and
but, like,
you'll
that
see
was
like a
it.
Goon Beetle, and that's like really about it. In fact, they didn't add many new enemies at all to Bowser's Army. It was still just like Hammer Bros, Koopa Troopas, and Goombas, which I was like super surprised. Like now with the addition of maybe some Chain Chomps, like I was like, what? Where's the Galaxy enemies? Mega Leg is literally the only one, and it's just the big
Yeah,
robot
exactly.
that Bowser Jr. and Kamek controls. In fact, Kamek even gets
And there's
taken out
actually
of
the
movie
flying
pretty
saucer,
quickly.
too.
In fact, Mario and the gang don't really even fight any enemies. They're really just kind of going on an adventure and then fighting Bowser and Bowser Jr. at the end.
Yeah,
Strange.
Peach does
And
most of the
same thing
fighting.
goes for galaxies. I think the only galaxies that are shown in this movie is the Gateway Galaxy, Honey Hive Galaxy, and that's literally it. I'm not joking. Now, Peach makes a reference
there's
to
a few
the
pointed
Space
out.
Junk Galaxy, but it literally just looks like an asteroid field, like one of those early levels in Star Fox 64. That's it. I'm like genuinely positive.
I mean, I don't know. I actually
unless
kind
go
of
back,
like
maybe
I
missed
properly
something,
saw the
but
Space
it did
Junk
not look like the
Galaxy.
Space Junk Galaxy to me. Yeah, it was kind of like
I saw hints at the Space Junk Galaxy. Like I saw pretty distinctive hints of the Space Junk Galaxy. I didn't mind it too much. Like I don't want to, like I still don't want to spoil too much, but like, you know the tile things in Space Junk, like the ones that like shift in to create a platform once you're close enough, and then disperse again once you get far enough away. I saw some of those tiles just floating around in the Space Junk Galaxy, and that genuinely actually made me pretty happy. I didn't mind that.
they just
Like,
took
it made it
a
more
batch of
obvious that it
random
was the
levels
Space
and
Junk
slapped them
Galaxy.
into this movie. Like they were just jumping from level to level from different games. It didn't really feel like they were going to new galaxies and flying around space.
Yeah, I wouldn't entirely argue with that, to be
I'll
honest.
also say, of course, just like the first movie, there's really no story. I think there's less of a story here in the first movie. Just kind of things are happening. It is definitely a jiggle keys in front of your face. Ooh, look at the Easter egg point and stuff. And there's not much of a story. There's not even much moments in this movie where I felt like a heartfelt moment or really came out of the movie taking anything away from this. You know what I mean? Or, you know, like the first movie, it had the luxury of being the first Mario movie. You know, I'm not talking about that live action one in the 90s. But the first
Yeah,
real
forget that one.
animated Mario
Forget
movie.
that one.
And it was just special because
That one should never be
everything
talked
that they
about. The
showed
live
was
action should
special
never be
about
talked
that.
about.
The origin story for Mario and Luigi and how they get to the Mushroom Kingdom. All that's gone now. They're here in the Mushroom Kingdom. Everybody's here. This is the second movie. You know, that kind of first time watching a Mario movie in a theater is gone now. So now you're expecting a little bit of a plot, and there's really nothing here. I mean, there is genuinely no story going on. They're just on an adventure trying to find Bowser and Bowser Jr. to save Rosalina. That's literally about it. I don't think the pacing is
that's
as
the
bad
main
as people make it
plot.
out to be, though.
The
There's
pacing
not,
is fine, in
nothing
my
but
opinion, to be honest.
montages of stuff happening. There's only like one or two montages, and it's not as crazy as
Yeah.
you think it is. Like, I was actually hoping there were more montages of like different galaxies and stuff, but no. In fact, the first half of the film
Honestly, I wouldn't
moves
mind that.
along pretty well. There's slow moments between the Mario Brothers and Bowser and Bowser Jr., even with Rosalina and her Lumas, even with Mario and Peach. There are a lot of like slower sections and stuff. So
Yeah,
I don't
I
know
wouldn't
where
argue with
these
that.
people are coming from saying like the pacing is unbelievably fast. Now, towards the end of the movie, it does get faster.
Yeah,
the
it
reason
does
I
get
say
faster
this
at the
is
end, but
because
like,
the climax and the final scene, the third act, just kind of came out of nowhere. It was just like, oh, that's it. And it wasn't because the pacing was so quick in the beginning. It was more along the lines of, that's it. I felt like the film should have just been longer. Like, hey, there's
I honestly
not
would
more
have loved
galaxies
for it
that
to
we're
be
doing.
longer.
There's not, you know, more
But then I
space
also
exploration. We're already
would have
fighting
not
Bowser
been able
and
to
Bowser
scream
Jr.
for
This is it.
longer.
Oh wow! And then it just kind of wraps up. That's it. That's the end of the movie. Like what? The ending wasn't bad. It was pretty cool. The fighting was really good, and I'll also say the fight scenes throughout this movie are all really well done. But
Yeah, the fight scenes
yeah,
were
it was
really
just
well
like,
done.
here's the
I
ending.
enjoyed
It
it.
was a
I like-
pretty cool fight, but then it was just kind of over, and it was handled in a weird way. Like I said, it's just so hard.
Yeah,
to
the
do
ending
this
was
without
handled
talking about
pretty
spoilers. So I'll just say
weirdly.
the ending was a mixed bag for me. It was good, but it could have added more. I'm sorry, like I said, I just can't talk about the ending. That's gonna have to be for a future video. But yeah,
Yeah,
pacing
if
was
I were to
fine.
talk about it,
wasn't
I
crazy
would
until the
need
very
to make
end,
a
and the ending
video
was a little
on
bit of a
at
mixed
the
bag
end.
for me. I do want to jump back real quick to when I was talking about how this didn't feel like Galaxy. I will say the only things that do feel like Galaxy is like the very beginning of Super Mario Galaxy and the end where Rosalina's traveling to the center of the universe for that final level. That's about it. Those two scenes. And it's like the two only cutscenes of the Mario Galaxy game. Besides like the really sad one with
Yeah,
the
no,
don't worry,
not
I'm
wrong.
not spoiling anything because that's not here. You don't even have that. I'm telling you, there's really no heartfelt stuff. The game has more
there's no
story.
super
The game had
heartfelt
more
things, but,
heart,
like-
in my opinion. But it's not to say this movie wasn't fun. I know I'm kind of bad.
Yeah, I still enjoyed
it. The
it.
movie was a lot.
It was still fun.
There are lots of
Just
Easter eggs. I do not feel like they're plastered
wasn't the
wall to wall
best.
the way reviews said. And I feel
Like,
like
it wasn't
all the
terrible,
Easter eggs
but
are
it wasn't
actually
the best
implemented
stuff.
really well, and they
Actual
fit the
egg
scenes
right
that they're
there.
in. It doesn't feel like just slop on the screen. I'm glad with that. In fact, from what I could see so far, it doesn't look like it's anywhere near as many Easter eggs as the first movie had. I mean, I remember sitting for days trying to dissect all the clips that I took on my phone there in the theater. I took more clips again, and I'm looking through them, and I'm like, there's some Easter eggs, but nowhere near as deep cut and as many as there were spread out across the first film, where like every
I honestly
background
wouldn't
scene
argue
had
with that.
something to point out. Something else I'll say is that there could have been more power-ups. I feel
Yeah,
like
I wish.
most of the
I also
power-ups
wish that
we've
there
seen
could have
was
been more
stuff that we've
power-ups.
already seen. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's stuff in the trailers, and there's a couple new ones that weren't shown off. But just like I said with characters as well,
Yeah, but, like,
there's not a lot
still.
that they didn't show us already that happens in this movie. I'd say about 75% of this movie was literally stuff from the trailers. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, if you didn't watch any trailers or any media or marketing from Nintendo with this movie or from Illumination, you're going to go in this movie thinking like, oh my gosh, what is it's going to be crazy for you. But Nintendo showed us way too much, and they have a
Yeah.
problem doing that. They had like 3 Nintendo Directs for this thing. They absolutely did not need to do that. They should have just
I think
left
the
it
main
off with,
thing-
like 2 trailers.
I think their main issue is that they were scared about leaks, which I honestly fully understand, but like they got too paranoid about it. Like way too paranoid about it. And that was their biggest problem with it. Because it led to them spoiling way too much of their own movie. Which includes freaking Fox McCloud. They could have left that in as a surprise, but they were so paranoid about it getting leaked that they spoiled it themselves. They just leaked it themselves. They let Paramount show it off early.
And then, you know, maybe like a final like montage or marketing stuff. But yeah, they just went too far. I think we had a total of 4 or 5 trailers with like the Super Bowl trailers and stuff. It was just too much.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how I felt with the movie. Like I said, I feel like 75% of the film was just like, yep, that was in the trailer. Yep, this was part of the trailer. Yep, I know what's going to happen here. This is part of the trailer. It got kind of annoying. One of the best characters
Yeah,
in this
that's
whole
fair.
movie is whoever composed the music. I know lots of this is just Koji Kondo remakes and remixes. But
Yeah,
oh my
but it
gosh,
still sounds
there's
so
many
good.
Super Mario Galaxy notifs and like little themes that you'll hear, little jingles. I couldn't even write them all down. There's so many. I mean, genuinely, this was one of my favorite parts. Most of the emotion and anything that I felt in this movie came through because of the music. When you get into some of those
Yeah,
sentimental
exactly.
areas, like you see Rosalina in the library, you know, reading her storybook, you already know what's going to play, and it's going to hit you hard. And there's just a lot of these little moments from all these little character introductions. You'll be like, oh my gosh, that's his theme from Super Mario Galaxy playing. I love the music in this. Also, do not worry, there is no licensed music this time around. Just Mario music.
Yep,
Also,
which
might
I'm
I add,
very
I have
grateful for.
absolutely no clue what these critics are saying. Maybe they're just old grumpy men that don't like humor. But dude, this movie had me laughing so much. Almost
I know,
every
I
scene had me
genuinely
giggling
enjoyed
or
it.
cackling at
It's
some
just,
stupid
like, it
joke or
could
some
have still been
stupid thing
better,
the character was
but it
saying.
was at
Dude,
least
This
fun.
movie was funny, dog.
And it was
I
at
don't
least
care. Like,
funny.
maybe I'm just a man-child and I'm a big jokester in real life, so anything would make me laugh for the most part. But dude, I was just laughing
I mean,
at almost
kinda the
every
same,
character. There was
but,
so
like,
many
still.
funny scenes.
Bowser's Rage moments were
But
kind of
overall,
funny.
I did enjoy this movie. I think I gave the first movie around an 8.5 to a 9, probably around
Which,
a
like,
9.
I don't think
was
that's
so
too
stoked
much of a
when it came out the theater,
spoiler,
so happy with
just
that
'cause,
one.
like,
This one I give about a 7 or a
One
7.5.
particularly.
Yeah, a little lower. I don't know. I came out the theater
Yeah, I
still
wouldn't argue with that.
happy, but not as jolly and mind blown as I was with the first film. Like I said, I think that first film had
Yes.
that, you know,
Like,
advantage. of
wasn't
being
quite
the
as
first animated Mario
satisfying
film
this
ever.
time around.
So, like, it was just like my childhood.
Like, it didn't
came
hit all
true.
at the same
This time I
checkpoints.
wanted a little bit more from them. And I don't know. I feel like maybe Galaxy wasn't the movie they should have done right now. They should have taken their time to integrate these new characters into something like a Super Mario World movie or something like a Super Mario Bros. 3 movie or a Sunshine themed one, or shoot, even Odyssey probably should have been in a movie form before Galaxy, because now I'm like, okay,
Yeah, I
you're
wouldn't
gonna be
argue
kind
with
of
that.
backtracking.
'Cause, like,
I'll also
yeah,
say
where are they
there's
gonna
2
go now?
post-credit scenes. One of them is a throwaway scene with nothing, but the second one actually does give you something to wait for. That's all I'll say. But yeah, it wasn't anything.
Yeah, that's
like,
the best
mind-blowing.
you could
It's just
probably say
something
without
I was like, yep,
spoiling too much.
that makes sense.
But, like, it does make
but overall,
like, it does
I
make
said,
it more
that's just kinda like
exciting
how this whole movie
for
went.
whatever
There was
the
nothing
next
really
movie is.
mind-blowing.
I got a few
It was
ideas
just
for
kind
it
of like,
already.
yep, I
but, like,
expected all this
I don't
stuff.
know for sure.
You know, there was a couple small
This one's okay.
surprises towards the end, but for the most part, I was just like, yep, expected. It's a fun watch that's over before you know it, but I absolutely can
Yeah.
see why critics tore this thing up, because there's not a lot of movie here. It's just a bunch of, like some people put it, cutscenes to video games just tossed together. Like, you're watching someone play
Yeah,
3D
I
Mario
wouldn't
in front of you,
entirely.
which,
I wouldn't
you know, for me,
entirely
that's
argue
fine.
with that.
I want my 3D Mario, so I was fine with that. So yeah, if you could just
Yeah,
turn
no,
the
that's
brain off
completely
and
fair.
have
I
some
wouldn't
fun,
actually
you're
argue
gonna have
with
a good
that.
time. Just don't expect anything super crazy out of this, or too much Galaxy, which I know is weird. But let me know down below what you thought of the movie once you watch it, and please no spoilers down in the comments, at least for this video. We will open spoilers for the next one that I do. But thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out, and I hope you all have a blessed day. See you guys.
Oh, he actually made a video with spoilers, so I guess it's mostly fine at this point. No, I'll go ahead and watch this too, because why not? I'll watch the version with spoilers, just because I've literally just watched it earlier.
It is now Friday, in the third day.
Like, it's
of the
barely
Super
been, like,
Mario Galaxy
2 hours
movie,
since I've
and
watched
there's so
it.
much for us to talk about, because today we are diving into the spoilers.
What you got for me, man?
I'm giving you my spoiler review, talking about anything and everything that
Also, I
happens
guess if I'm
in
watching
film,
this, then
how
I
it
can go
felt.
into more
Now, I've only
details
watched
on
it once.
my own
I'm watching
opinions.
it a second time tonight, so I probably should have just waited just one more time, but I've got so much footage that I actually captured on my phone and stuff, so I'm still pretty fresh on the movie and remember everything pretty well. But I'm just here to give you guys my takes and pretty much what I thought and talk about everything. I'll also be showing some images that I took during the movie as well. So yes, this is going to be spoilers. So if you haven't watched the movie yet, get out of here. What are you doing? Just save the video and come back to it later.
I'm perfectly
But
fine to
real
watch it
quick,
'cause I
before we
just
get
watched it
started,
last
we are
night.
just 12,000 subscribers away from our goal of 400,000 subs. You can make that happen by just leaving a like and subscribing today. If you love everything the Mario Galaxy movie and Nintendo, you're going to want to make sure you are here. So let's see how many people we can get to subscribe from this video alone. Thank you for tuning in, and let's jump into the Super Mario Galaxy movie and my full review. Yes, spoilers included. This is your final time. You're being warned. Okay, moving on. I don't know how to exactly tackle this. It's not going to be super organized with this video. I'm just going to be rambling about things. But I think I'm going to start off with the characters. It's easier for me.
Yeah, go ahead and
starting
ramble.
off with, you know, how are the characters?
I'll throw my
Rosalina,
own.
Actually, fine.
I will throw my own thoughts in probably after each of his opinions. Which I guess we're starting with Rosalina. Let's
I
see
know a
where
lot
he's
of
got.
people said that she had too small of a role, or it felt weird, like she had lesser of a role than Fox. I do not agree. She fit her
Yeah, I
role
wouldn't
really
agree with that
well.
either.
You know, she had
Yeah.
a battle in the beginning, and then locked up, and then, you know, they still showed her off and on. But yes, could have been more Rosalina.
Yeah, they still
of course,
showed her
but you
being a
really
girl
need some
boss.
type of character that's kind of the damsel in distress, you know, the main reason for the story. They could have went with something else, like Bowser just stealing Power Stars again. Definitely, and that's something we'll
Yeah,
talk
they
about later,
definitely
how this
could
movie
have.
is not Galaxy at all.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But I
Rosalina
admittedly
I
didn't
felt like
mind.
was fine.
Like, I didn't
You'll
mind the
probably get
idea
more of her in the
they
next
went with
movie or
for
whatever.
this.
It's fine.
But, like,
Not a big deal.
yeah.
Because there's something bigger that we got to talk about with her and another character later on. Fox was absolutely
Yeah,
great.
bitch.
I was so happy they showed his entire crew, even if it
Of
was just like an
course.
anime-style cutscene, a little 2D
That was
scene.
still cool to me,
I
to be
loved
honest.
that. And they even gave
Like,
references
even
to,
not being
like,
a Star
attack
Fox,
barriers,
like, not
the
even
first
being a
boss
Star
in
Fox
Star
fan, I
Fox
still found that
64.
so cool.
That was awesome. It
Yeah,
felt like
no, that was
a
cool.
piece of Star Fox was just integrated into this movie. Like, the game itself was just integrated into this movie, and it was great. He has a great voice actor. Glenn Powell just bodies the character. I mean, he's absolutely Star Fox with his voice and everything. It's perfect. And if you didn't know,
Again, I
him
haven't
and Donald
played-
Glover both reached out to Nintendo to voice Star Fox and Yoshi respectively. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, Fox was
That's
awesome.
actually
I'd say
cool.
personality-wise was a little strange.
Yeah.
He came off a little like too celebrity-like. You know, the Lumas were acting like him. He's just like this big fancy fox, and he's just the coolest, greatest guy ever. Which I know Fox is cool and all, but I feel like that's more like Falco's behavior, the way he was acting a lot of the time. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I just felt like he was a little.
I mean, I guess to be fair, if they make a Star Fox movie, and if they have both Star Fox, or Fox McCloud and Falco involved, with how Fox is already acting, if Falco was normally like that in the games, then I assume that he's going to be even worse about it in the movie, which would
Too,
be
like, over the top a little bit,
interesting.
you know, not too much. I don't know. I don't know. He was great, but I feel
I do
like
feel
he needed to
like
tone it
even not
back
know
a little bit. But
yeah,
of
even
course,
not
when he's
knowing
leading the
Fox,
crew,
I felt
it's
like it
totally
was a
different.
little over the
So
top.
they got to give him more than just a leader
You know.
personality. It was getting kind of boring. Yoshi was absolutely phenomenal. Sounded like Yoshi, acted
Yeah,
like
no, I
Yoshi.
loved
I'm glad they
Yoshi
didn't make
so
Yoshi
much.
This stupid bumbling kid or anything like this. He hatches. He's just a normal Yoshi. You know what I mean? He's not a baby, which I'm glad.
Yeah,
they
but he's
didn't do
also
that.
just super
Yeah,
silly.
his character was awesome. He made me laugh a lot of times in the movie.
Yeah, Yoshi was
I have
so
no
silly.
complaints with him. Bowser Jr. was good. His voice feels a little too old still. I think it's Benny Safdie. Just sounds a little too old for a kid. You know what I mean? I think back to
Yeah, I
Mario
wouldn't
Sunshine,
argue with
just
that
you know,
too
his
much.
sounds in the other games, he's very childlike, and I didn't really get that all that much. His eyes were still bothering me. They bother me. I'm sorry. I'm not a big fan of them. They look
I got
so
used to them
weird in
after
some
a
of the
little
scenes, like
while.
there's a scene with him and Bowser in a
Like,
clown
they were
car flying
off-putting
over
at
Bowser
first,
Land,
but,
and
like-
it's so noticeable, and it's just so. It takes me out of it. Like, why
It
does
is
his
very
eyes look
jarring.
like a demented dragon? Like, he looks so much eviler than Bowser. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. Bowser, by the way, had a very weird character change in this movie.
You know, it
So
was
he starts the movie
like it was a little
completely in love
like
with Mario
weird
and Luigi.
character
Like, even after
development.
everything they did to him,
well, not necessarily
they bring
Mario,
him back to his
but at
normal
least
size,
Luigi.
and he still shows them love. He even sacrifices himself to the Honey Queen in the Honey Hive Galaxy so that the bros can go back home. And I'm thinking, okay, what's the catch here? I'm like, oh, okay, as soon as Bowser Jr. gets him, he's like, all right, you know, now it's time. You know what I mean? Bowser Jr. saves him, and then it's just like, I still love Mario and Luigi. Let's not hurt them. I'm like, ew, what is this? Isn't Bowser? Like, what?
Yeah,
why
that
is it
threw
even
me off
Bowser
at
Jr.
first
just like,
too. Yeah.
Dad, this is what you've wanted. Like, why you were a bad guy? You know, like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
here?
exactly. It was like that's the weird bit of character development that I wasn't expecting. Like, admittedly, I kind of get it, at least with Luigi. Like, he definitely seemed a lot friendlier with Luigi. Mario, he wasn't as chill with, but he at least got a little better as time went on, I guess. And I guess he probably did kind of start connecting with them to an extent. But then, of course, Bowser Jr. just reverts him back to his normal self. So, like, yeah, it was like a little positive character development that immediately just got reverted again because of Bowser Jr.
It's very strange. And then out of
Yeah,
know,
it was
he's even,
strange.
like Bowser Jr. is trying to take out Star Fox and Mario and Luigi in R-Wing, and Bowser's like, no, don't hurt them, don't shoot them. As long as you use the baby ray, like, why is Bowser doing this? There's no way he's built, like, the entire time he's little, he's doing all these threats at Mario, saying, I'm gonna burn you, I'm gonna destroy you.
Yeah, at
So
Mario.
it completely
Yeah, at
threw me
Mario
off.
in
Like,
particular,
he gets
but
giant
I think
and just kisses
with
Mario
Luigi.
and moves on. Like, he genuinely kisses Mario in this movie.
Yeah, it was really. That
Very
part was
strange.
so weird.
I don't know how
Like,
I
that
feel
threw
about
me
his,
off.
his character. He eventually gets back to being evil at the end, but it feels so forced. Like, it was just like, you were just, like, over half of this movie in love with Mario and Luigi for some reason. What's going on? Yeah, I don't like, that's not Bowser. That's never been Bowser. You know, Bowser,
Yeah.
even when he had Mario and Luigi in his stomach, he didn't know it. I mean, he just knew Chippy was in there. He didn't even like Chippy, even though it helped him out. And he was thankful sometimes. He still was like, you know, bossing him around, being mean and grumpy. Like, that's Bowser.
Yeah, that's
It was
more
strange.
Bowser's dynamic
Anyways,
than anything else.
Mort and the Honey Queen are hardly in this movie. Honey Queen is literally in this movie for like a minute. Super
Yeah,
weird. I'm
maybe
like,
two.
Do they even need to go to the Honey Hive Galaxy? Do they only go there just for the sake of saying like, hey, we've got to throw in a galaxy in here because there's only like 2 galaxies in the whole movie? That's how I felt. She felt very weird, very strange.
Yeah, it did
They
feel
also made her
weird.
like extremely mean, like a Alice in Wonderland type of evil queen or something. I don't know how I felt about her character. I know they had to give her
Yeah, I'm
something
not
because
sure
the
on it
game
either.
really has no character. She's just nice, fuzzy, big bee. So
I mean, I
guess
feel
they
like
gave
in
her
the
something,
game,
but it feels like something
she was at
happened
least nicer.
in the Honey Hive Galaxy that we missed. Like you can see the Bugaboom bugs there, and you know the Mandibugs, I think they're called.
Yeah.
And they're just there, and they look like they're enslaved. She's like,
Yeah.
here, take this ugly bug and get out of here. So like I feel like there's like a big war or something that went on with the bugs, and we just missed it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel like there was just stuff missing. Like, what was the point of them even going there? There's a lot of things I had to question why they even went there. The whole baby thing, going to the dinosaur planet. Why did they even do that? What was the point? I don't know.
Which,
like,
again, was
kind of
like the
pointless,
dinosaur
like,
planet was
I
just
didn't need to
another
see the whole
Odyssey
babies.
kingdom.
I don't know. It was some strange choices they made for sure. As far as the story goes, there's no story whatsoever. Absolutely no story. I mean, the story is they have to save Rosalina, and that's it. Now, I will say, in defense of Mario games, they never had stories, like, ever. I mean, it's been the plot of every story. Go save the princess, go collect something, go stop Bowser. So, I can't blame them, but this is a movie. When you make a movie, you gotta make some changes and add some
Yeah, you
sort
gotta
of
have
story.
some
They
sort of
could've,
proper
because
plot.
The original Mario Galaxy had story. I mean, you have Rosalina's backstory.
Yeah, at least
you
that
have
had
the
some
sad part
story
at the
to
end
it.
where Mario says bye to the Lumas and the galaxy resets. Like, they could have done something like that. And the fact that they just kind of ignored the entire plot of Galaxy, they ignored Galaxy in total. Like, they completely ignored it. It's crazy. In fact, there's only 2 galaxies in this movie.
Yeah.
2 galaxies. It feels like there's just a bunch
I mean,
of
there's
random
references
worlds
to
and
other
levels and
ones,
ideas
but,
slapped
like-
together, but they just left Galaxy on the back burner. The 2 galaxies are Gateway Galaxy, which is completely different and completely changed in this movie to be a giant airport, pretty much. The Sunshine
Basically,
Airport, but
yeah.
with spaceships. And
Which
then
really, I
you
didn't
have
mind
Lehigh
that idea
Galaxy,
too much, but like,
which
it still
you
threw me
barely
off.
saw any of it. I mean, you really just saw some flowers and then the inside of the castle for the queen, which isn't even in the game. There was no castle in the game. So, I mean, it didn't even feel like we stopped at any galaxies. There's some little Easter egg planets in the background. Like, you go, like, oh, that's the egg from Good Egg Galaxy. That's the peanut from Good Egg Galaxy. Or, you know, that might be Drip Drop Galaxy that we flew by. They'll put it on the website. Like, for instance, on the website, it says Drip Drop Galaxy, which is just like a small planet that they fly by in 2 seconds in the movie. They even say Space Junk Galaxies in the movie. Even Peach is like, we got to get to Space Junk Galaxy. Did I miss it? Because I didn't see Space Junk Galaxy. I just saw...
They were in Space Junk Galaxy, like I mentioned before, I saw like the tiles that would move in to make platforms, but like, mainly it wasn't super obvious, especially if you haven't played the Galaxy games. Well, the first Galaxy game. If you haven't played the first Galaxy game, it would not be very obvious. But yeah. I honestly wish it could have been a lot better in terms of like the movie or whatever.
all kind of like some
But, yeah.
asteroids in
Anyway.
space, like a meteor that they went through, and that was it. Like that was Space Junk Galaxy. I know Space Junk Galaxy is just a random bunch of junk in space, but like this was nothing. It was just some rocks. Like
It wasn't just rocks, but like
so yeah, they also
there really
do not
wasn't
fight a
too
single
much more.
enemy that's from Mario Galaxy in this game. In fact, the only person that I can think of that fights any enemy, period, is
Peach.
and she
Yeah.
fights Mario Brothers 2 themed enemies and bosses.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, that scene, they didn't add anything. They showed us everything already. They showed us every character that Peach was going to fight. We saw Claw Grip, we saw Birdo, we saw Mauser, we saw King Wart, we saw the
Yeah, we
ninjas.
saw all of
There's
them
no
already.
extra characters in that scene, which is crazy to me. Why did they show us all that? You know what I mean? They could have kept Birdo a secret. They could have kept Claw Grip a secret, Mauser a secret. Like, there's other bosses in Mario Brothers 2 I thought they could have thrown in there, like Fry Guy. He's not in there. Tri-Clyde. He's not in there. It's just like, why didn't they go all the way? You know, and throw in more Mario Brothers 2 enemies and stuff. But no, it was just like they kept it pretty basic. Like everything that we've, and that's the problem with this movie in general, I think, is 90%, okay, 90% is a lot. I'd say 75 or even
Yeah.
80% of the movie was stuff that we've seen in trailers already. Some of the scenes extended a little bit more for the movie version, obviously. But every time, like, I saw the casino, like, oh, I know what's
Yeah.
going to happen here. And exactly, it happened.
Like,
for
it
being
could have
pretty much what we saw in the
been
trailer.
so much
There was no
better, and they could
secrets.
have
You know,
included
Nintendo has
more
a problem
to
with
it.
that with trailers. I feel like, shoot, every movie out there does the same thing as well. I feel like advertisement is more important than them caring about what people see in the movies. But yeah, Galaxy was left on the back burner, which I thought was weird. But yeah, like I said, there's no real story here. When you go into the character stories, I feel like those are the most interesting you're going to get. I love Bowser.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Bowser
argue with
Jr.'s
that.
kind of togetherness in this. That's my favorite part about the 2 characters is I love how Bowser Jr. is just madly in love with his father. There's no resentment for him not being there for a couple of years. He just wants to save his dad and rule the galaxy with his dad and have fun with his dad. And that's
exactly.
Bowser Jr. I thought that character.
He wants to help his dad
so
destroy
I
everything
love
so
that.
they can rule
The
over
sister's
everything.
plot was so weird. Yes, they're saying that in this movie, Peach and Rosalina are sisters, which is super weird. Rosalina's Peach's older sister.
It's not actually that weird, and I'll get into the details on that in a bit.
She, I guess, had some evil threat try to attack her and Peach and sent Peach to the Mushroom Kingdom, which is so strange because I'm like, okay, why didn't Rosalina go with her? What was this evil threat chasing Rosalina?
Also, right, I didn't focus too heavily on all of this. I didn't focus too heavily on all the weapons. That's one of... Which one is it? Iggy? That's one of Iggy's bombs, isn't it? That's Flood from Mario Galaxy. That's literally just a poltergust from Luigi's Mansion.
They didn't even touch on that. How did she get away from that threat? Why was Peach and Rosalina as kids on this random asteroid in space? Are they saying this is what happened? You know, I'm guessing.
Even
this
in
is the
the
storybook
original.
details where Rosalina was on that planet with the Luma all alone, but instead this time it's Rosalina and her little sister Peach being on that planet all alone. It's still weird. Like, why? How did they get
It
up
is
there?
still
Why are
kind
they
of
up there?
weird.
Why was Peach up there as a baby?
Which, actually, I guess to think, like, to be completely fair, we don't exactly fully know the exact timeline of the storybook. Because, like, sure, the storybook shows both, like, just Rosalina and this Dark Kid. There's no mention of Peach at all in it. But what if that particular story took place after what happened with these two?
Pretty much with her older sister. Very, very strange stuff. And I don't know. Does this mean that in the games they're related? No.
I mean, they already hinted at it in the games, to be completely fair, like in the storybook. They actually did hint at them having some sort of relationship. It was just never fully clarified. There are a lot of theories, like including a theory from MatPat, that Peach is Rosalina's mom. Which I thought was actually true for a while until I finally did another search when when the conversation came up on the car ride back home. But no, there's no confirmed, like, there's no specific relationship that's confirmed between the two of them. Just that there's some sort of, like, relationship. And, like, more of a relationship than just being friends or whatever.
I can make a whole video about this because this is just, yeah, I thought that was so strange. They touched on it for like 30 seconds in one flashback and it was over. It was so like, how are you going to hit us with lore like that after all these years and then just move on? Like, oh, okay, that's your sister.
Because,
okay.
yes.
I'm like, what? That was my biggest, like, what moment? Like,
Yeah,
they're
that
not
threw
gonna
me off
elaborate on
pretty
this?
hard,
They're not gonna go
too,
any further?
at
Like,
first.
are they going to even try
They're
to
like-
explore this in the future? What was the evil thread? You know, more of the sister's background. Where are they even from? Who are their parents? Like, there's so much. There's just so much. But anyways, yeah, they should have just went with Galaxy's story. You know, I feel like a more contained movie where Mario just went on a journey with Yoshi, maybe even Luigi. Call it there. I don't even know if they really needed to have Peach and Toad in this movie that much at all. But just had Mario, or it could have been Mario and all his friends, just going on a journey from galaxy to galaxy, just going through various different galaxies from the game, and, you know, tracking down power stars or something to stop, like, maybe a big galaxy reactor that Bowser was building to defeat the galaxy. And
Or they could have
Rosalina
been
could've helped
specifically
with
hunting
stuff.
for
I don't
Grand
know.
Stars, I
felt
guess.
like it was very weirdly paced. It was just like they had all these random ideas that weren't.
Like, I feel like Grand Stars would honestly make more sense than Power Stars. Because you would need the power of a Grand Star to power, like, to actually power up a universal level destroy, like, a universal level of freaking blaster.
Galaxy.
Like, you would need a
Enforcement.
Grand Star for something like that.
speaking of
Not
pacing,
just a
I felt
power
like the first
star.
half of the movie had some pretty decent pacing. There was moments, there were slower moments and stuff, and the pacing didn't really pick up towards the end. I feel like it wrapped up super quickly. But also
The
Easter
freaking
eggs.
scene
A lot
of
of people
Yoshi
on there,
like this,
online have said
they kind of threw me off
slop of an Easter egg
originally.
fest. I don't know what
Like-
the heck they're watching. I made a full video pretty much breaking down any and every single Easter egg. I've recorded so much footage. There's a lot of Easter eggs, but none of them, like half of them I didn't even catch on my first watch. I had to go back and look at the recordings I made because they
Some
were
of them
so
I didn't
hidden.
even catch
They're
either.
not really in your face. There's some stuff at the very end, but like
Like
for
honestly,
the most
earlier, like I didn't bother to point it out at first, but like earlier, let me see where it. Yeah, here. I didn't notice this when I first watched it, but that's the N64 logo, basically. Like I didn't notice that when I watched it, and like that's honestly really cool to me. I love that they included the N64, like the fact that they included the N64, I guess, icon or whatever, is really cool to me.
Easter egg
Anyway, jump
end
back to
because they
that.
were so hidden.
Yeah.
They're not really in your face. There's some stuff at the very end, but like for the most part, the Easter eggs were just stuff hidden in the room, stuff in the background, certain characters that were just in the background. It didn't feel like anything was super forced. Sure, you had to, the SS Dolphin in the Pikmin land and jump out, but like for instance,
Yeah.
Samus's gunship
like-
is in this movie. I didn't even see it. So like,
Wait,
the
it
first
is?
time I didn't even see it.
Why
I
on
thought
earth
the
would
Easter eggs
Samus's
were definitely
gunship
not
be in
Easter
this?
eggs. I don't
Like,
know
what?
people are talking about. Besides the ending, obviously, the final battle was just like, boom, here's these power-ups, which Mario's about power-ups.
And boom, here's
That is
Game
an
and
Easter egg.
Watch.
But, okay, boom, here's Mr. Game & Watch. That's a pretty in-your-face Easter egg. And
Yeah.
hey, boom, here's the dragon, the Lord of Lightning from Super Mario Odyssey. That's a pretty in-your-face Easter egg. But, like, Bowser turning into Bowser, dry Bowser, that's stuff that happens in the game. Like, that's not really... that's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, Bowser goes
Yeah.
into lava, that's what's going to happen. I figured, I was like, he's either going to turn into Dry Bowser now, or he's going to grow really big, like we've seen in the game.
Because of
I think
someone's
people
magic.
confuse what an Easter egg is compared to what a reference is. Referencing
Yeah.
something from the game. When you're making a Mario movie, you need to pull from specific things from the Mario games.
Yeah.
And that's just how it works. Now, anything that's just kind of like Star Fox outside of Mario, Game & Watch outside of Mario, throwing in a random Lord of Lightning, I get it. Those are Easter eggs that are just
Yeah,
kind
those are
of
Easter
boom in
eggs.
your face. But there's
Bowser
little
becoming
things that
Dry
I didn't even
Bowser
notice. I didn't
is
even
just
notice
simply
Little
a
Mac,
reference.
Doc Lewis going by, that was a thing.
Little
There's a
Mac?
lot of things
What?
I didn't even notice, but
I didn't notice that
I feel
either.
like they handled
Like,
Easter
what?
eggs really well. It didn't feel overwhelming. I felt like the first movie felt more overwhelming. It was like every little thing was like an Easter egg. Like in Brooklyn, every poster, every sign, everything was an Easter egg when they were in the real world. It was crazy. I didn't feel that here, so I actually felt like it was handled better here. Yeah, but that's the story, if there really even is one. But a couple other mindless thoughts I had. The ending wrapped up quick, like I said. I think the ending was pretty cool. It just, things happened so fast. The fight with Mario, Luigi, Yoshi versus Bowser and Bowser Jr. only lasted like 2 minutes of like actual fist fight. If that is like
Yeah.
a minute.
I kinda wish
the
that could have
fighting
been
actually
longer, to be
lasted
honest.
longer, and there were more power-ups that they used. Once again, they showed us pretty much every power-up that's in this movie outside of like a couple that were barely used. There's like 2 at the very end of the movie that they saved, but yeah, once again, they're showing
Yeah.
us way too much. Daisy is here. That's great. She was the post-credit scene. Why is she in space? I don't know. That's what I don't understand. Like, how does space work in this world now? Like, the Cascade
Yeah, I'm a
Kingdom
little
is
curious.
its own galaxy. Like, are we going to stay in the galaxy style? Like, are we going to constantly be in space, going to different planets and stuff? How does that work? But yeah, is Sarasalan on another planet? Why was she in the Gateway Galaxy and not like in the Mushroom Kingdom, or at least on the Earth where the Mushroom Kingdom is? There should have been more side.
Yeah, why
characters.
isn't
I
she
feel like there was
in
a gap.
Barabudo
like,
Kingdom?
Egad, I cannot believe wasn't in
Or
this
like
movie. There was
traveling
coffee mug with his
from
logo on it.
Barabudo.
Tons of his devices, like the Poltergust 5000 was here in an Easter egg. The
Flood was there.
Flood was here in an Easter egg. Bowser's paintbrush is here. How, like, there's tons of laboratories. You know, they could have explained how, like, Megalay got built, the planet got built for Bowser Jr., his laboratory, all that stuff. Egad, it was like perfect. All the like electronics were red with green screens and stuff. It would have made so much sense. They could have tied him into like a tease at a Luigi's Mansion movie. he just felt like a character that was snobbed of Spot. Like I don't understand. Like,
Yeah.
he was just
I wish he
not
could have made a
here.
cameo,
Just
but he
strange to me.
didn't for some
Once
reason.
again, Galaxy.
He
just
should have
like
made a
everything,
cameo.
I think they probably should have went on with something else and did like Mario World first before going to Galaxy. If they want to establish
Yeah, I
characters,
wouldn't
I
argue
feel like
with that.
Galaxy wasn't the movie to do that. They
Yeah.
focused on Galaxy and its story and its worlds, rather than saying, hey, this is who we're going to introduce Bowser Jr., this is who we're going to introduce Rosalina, this is who we're going to introduce, all these characters. They should have just stuck with that.
Yeah.
But the music was phenomenal.
They should have
The music
infused
was great. There's only a
Galaxy
couple licensed themes that
to
I heard.
introduce all of them.
95% of the music was just Galaxy remixes, and it tied into some really good scenes. I think the best Galaxy scenes were like the beginning of Galaxy and the road to Bowser at the end. They replicated those two scenes
Yeah.
perfectly.
Yeah,
with the
I
music
loved it
and
so
everything.
much.
Like going to Galaxy's Bowser's reactor or whatever. It was the same song. It was the same looking theme, blasting through the airships
Yeah.
to get there.
And I genuinely loved
felt
it.
very, very much like Galaxy, but
Like, it
everything
felt
else was just
kinda
stripped out. It's like they
more
just gave us the
natural
beginning
for
intro
that
of
to be honest.
Galaxy, and then the very ending of Galaxy,
And
left
that's
out
it.
everything else, and just kind of made up stories for everything else that didn't have anything to do with Galaxy. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know I'm sounding.
I
kind of
wish
harsh
they
on
could
this,
have done
but
it better.
I'm just saying this. It's okay to criticize. I see people online
And there's
saying,
nothing wrong with
who cares
criticizing.
what you expected of a Mario Galaxy movie? I've said that before. And I'm like, look, okay, at the end of the day, there's going to be fans that are just straight up going to love this. Like, the audience score is over a 90%. And then, critic score is under a 40%. So, like,
Oh yeah, what do you expect?
under like a 45%.
There's always a
critics
huge
are
gap
gonna
between the two of
because
those.
There's not a lot of substance here.
Like, there's
But fans are gonna
always
love
a
this
huge
because
gap
there's a lot of
between.
things to love just throughout the Mario franchise. If you turn your brain off and say this is not a Galaxy movie, this is just a second movie for the Mario films, you're gonna love this thing. But if you decide to, sit too much thinking like, dude, this isn't Galaxy, then you're probably not gonna like this much.
Yeah.
Personally, I came to about a 7 to a 7.5. I think it's really good. I think
Yeah, I
it's
honestly wouldn't
incredibly
argue with
funny. I really do think it's funny. Is it better
Yeah, it's
than the first one?
enjoyable,
I'm
but,
not
like,
quite sure. They do. Some
I
things
would
that are
not
better
say
than the
it's
first
as
one.
good as the
But
first one,
overall,
to be
I feel like
honest.
it's the lesser lack of story, the lack of focus on specific characters. The lack of focus on it being a Galaxy movie was probably my biggest takeaways. And they just left a lot of questions on the
Because
table.
if
still.
you're gonna
Made
name
some
it Mario
jarring
Galaxy, it
decisions
needs to
with
be
characters
more
like
Galaxy
Bowser's,
related.
kind of character art, and also Rosalina and Peach being sisters without really explaining anything about it. They just left
Yeah,
a
I
lot
wish
of
they
stuff
could have
on the table.
explained more about
and I'm
that.
wondering if they're going to touch on any of that, or they're just going to go on with the next movie, introduce even more characters like Wario, Daisy, Waluigi, the Koopalings, and just leave even more lore on the table. Like, where did Bowser Jr. come from? They just said boarding school. Like, is there a mom? I know the games obviously don't touch on that, but like,
Yeah, the games don't
give
even
us
touch
something.
at that.
I don't know. But yeah,
Other than
overall,
Sunshine
I did like
barely
it.
hinting,
I thought
like,
it was a feast for the eyes. It's
oh,
beautiful. There was
Peach
fun
is
fight
the mom,
scenes. It felt
maybe?
very Mario-like. It was incredibly funny.
But,
like I
like,
said, a lot of
then, of
reviewers said
course,
it wasn't that funny. It
the
was
game
childish.
also
Maybe I'm just a
just
big
straight up
grown
says,
child because I
nope,
was giggling
not
and
the mom.
laughing at it, literally almost every scene. I thought it was a hilarious movie.
I was
thought
laughing
it
a
was
lot
way
at it
funnier than the
too.
first movie. So yeah, but like I said, I'm going back to see it again tonight with my wife. If anything changes, I'll be sure to let you know. But yeah, that's just kind of my spoiler take on everything. So if you've seen the movie already, which I'm assuming you have if you made it to the end of this video, let me know what you thought. Let me know
Or if you're even watching this video in
if
the
you liked
first
it more
place,
than
like
me.
me.
Was it more than a 7 or a 7.5 for you? Did you like it less than I did? If so, let me know why. But overall, I can
think
see
I
why
had
people
about
are
the
upset,
same
but I can
opinion
also
as
see why
him,
people
to
really
be
love it.
honest.
It's fine to be on either side. Don't let people bully you and saying like you can't like something or you have to like something. That's the way this world works now. It's either you have to be positive or you have to be negative. You can't be on both. So
Nah,
I
I'd
have a
much
little
rather
bit
be in
positive and
between.
negative about this movie. I still had a fun watch, and I'm going to watch it a second time. That should tell you enough. But thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you check out my full analysis I posted yesterday if you have watched the movie.
Again, I personally don't
There
mind
are
it.
so many
It
Easter eggs
could have
that
been
you
better,
absolutely missed, and
but
I was even surprised
it's
by
not
something
so bad that I
missed when
hated
was making
it.
the video.
Like, I
So
still
make sure you check
genuinely
that
had
out.
fun
Leave a
watching
like
it.
and subscribe to stay up to date on
Like, I
all things
genuinely
Mario
enjoyed
and
it.
Nintendo in general. And I hope you all have a blessed day. See you guys.
I could totally watch this, but I have something else that I want to do for a stream tonight. So, I'm sadly gonna have to cut the reaction segment short. Well, reaction and review section. But, yeah. I'm going to take a very short break. And when I get back, well, I got a game to play. I'm just split on which one. That said, again, I'll be right back.